All right, welcome to my YouTube again. If you don't know me yet, my name is Ani. I run an outbound agency right now, but I used to run like a more of a home service agency back in the day. Actually, what got me to switch that niche was this email from Charlie Morgan. Actually, I emailed him. I'm not gonna show you my first email. It was a bit personal, but I would consider Charlie to be my mentor. So I emailed him. He said like I wanted to go into the manufacturing niche for some reason. So he said, be careful with that. I haven't seen any proof there. And the main thing is he said cop, okay? And that's why I did switch eventually into this B2B space. Now, this is what I learned after literally completing more than 10,000 cold calls. Like, it was such a painful time in my life. I was like, it was so fucking painful. I was on the calls 5, 6 hours a day. It was crazy. Now, I'm gonna give you all of that pain and all of that knowledge transferred into this Miro board. Now, there's a couple of other things that I'm not gonna address today, but I'm gonna give you like the most important stuff. So it's 70% tonality and 30% script. So it looks like this, exactly like this. And you might have heard of this a ton of times already, but the thing is, like, they tell you this and you don't do it, right? You say, oh yeah, it is like tonality is important, and then you don't fucking do it. Like, for the lack of better words, you don't do it. And like, let me tell you something. Knowledge without implementation is bullshit. That's I don't know whose quote it is. It's my quote. Like I'll call it my quote, but it is true. Like whoever said it first, there's probably somebody who said it before me. But knowledge without implementation is bullshit. So if I give you this information today and I tell you like the most general stuff that you should know, like these are the bare foundations of cold calling, and you don't implement it and you don't practice the tonality, you don't use any action items that I'm gonna give you in this call in this YouTube video today, you're not gonna get anything done. Like you're not gonna get anywhere. So that's the point. But what we're gonna talk about right now is the tonality because this is the most important thing. And if I can even leave you with one thing, if you can take one thing like from if you want to learn cold calling and if you can take one thing from my whole knowledge, it's gonna be this about the tonality. So you can see like while I'm speaking to you on this YouTube, I have a certain tonality. I'm trying to be your friend. I'm trying to be like somebody who actually knows you. That's what I'm trying to do. But there's many different ways we can structure this. So I put the image of the Wolf of Wall Street right here. He's the master of tonality. If not anything like, I mean, he was a scammer, but he mastered the tonality. He mastered the shit out of it. And what you need to be is sharp. I don't know why this is so wide, but you need to be sharp on your calls. You need to be confident and you need to be calm. Another thing that everybody tells you, but you're probably not doing it if you're not booking at least 5 a day, 5 appointments a day from cold calling. That's the thing. And to improve your tonality, you need to use the scientific method to get better. Like I can't give you a trick, man. Like if you're looking for tricks and strategies, just out of my channel. Like this is not what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna give you the fundamentals. I'm gonna give you the foundations, and I'm gonna give you what works today, also in other words active strategies, but I'm gonna also like always I'm gonna give you the fundamentals on top of that. I'm never gonna leave you with one script and then you just go and run it. Like that's not what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you with fundamentals. So to improve your tonality you need to use the scientific method, and if you don't know what the scientific method is, I mean, I'm gonna explain it to you, but you probably should know it because it got a man on the moon. I mean, there's a debate about that, but it got us to like do all of this crazy shit that we're doing as humanity. It got us to build all of these iPhones, all of the technology, and it can help you build like a solid cold calling system. That's the point. It's not it's not rocket science, man. It's not that crazy. Cold calling is just mastering your tonality, getting the right lead list, and then having the right framework on how you're going to control that call. So the first thing is testing, right? Well, actually, the first thing is going to be introducing the new variable, right? But everything else is going to be more important. So testing, let's talk about testing because introducing a new variable is very simple. You just build everything out and then you introduce it. So testing is going to be testing your variable. You're going to have to track the metrics. How many people did you dial? How many picked up? How many said fuck off? How many said that they're interested? How many actually booked a call? And how many did show up? And show up process, like that's the big thing when it comes to cold calling. I had a shit show up process back in the day. right now, if I were to cold call again, it would probably increase by at least 20%. I used to have like a 60% show rate. Right now, for our own agency, we're gonna have about 85, 90%, which is pretty solid for the industry KPI. And if I knew what I knew today, I could probably get the cold calling show up rate to about 70%. But the thing is, the lead quality is it's not there when you're doing the cold calls. That's why I eventually switched to cold email and the DMs. But it is still good. Like it is volume. So if you book 10 calls a day, at least 3 to 4 of them are gonna be properly qualified. And then you're gonna take the feedback. So once you analyze your metrics, once you see your percentages, once you see the conversion rates, and your calls, once you rewatch your cold calls, you're going to be able to see what your bottleneck is. So a very important thing here, an action item, is to record your cold calls. So you could even clip them and set aside 30 to 60 minutes a day to review them. If you have like a partner or somebody who you can trust, you can review it with them because they're going to give you more honest feedback. You want somebody honest in your life. So they're going to give you more honest and more direct feedback. So that's what we want to do. And then it's going to be iteration. So actually building a proper iteration. So if we can see like our interest rate is too low. So if we're getting like 10 with 100 people on phone with 100 people, we're dialing like, let's say 500 people, we're dialing 100 people, 500, and we're getting 100 to actually talk with us to get them to, pick up the phone. If only, let's say, 5 or 10 of them show any interest, there's an issue here. There is an issue. We need to fix that. So you're gonna do iteration about your bottlenecks, right? So you're gonna take a look at your bottlenecks, you're gonna analyze everything, and then you're gonna iterate on top of that bottleneck. So that's the thing about the scientific method. And the daily practices to improve your tonality is gonna be role play with your friends or business partner to receive direct feedback. Use vocal training before your cold calling session. And in everyday life, try and speak as sharp as possible in a convincing way to get people to get people bought into something. Like get used to it. That's what I used to do. Like every time I went to the gym or like I went on a walk and I talked with somebody, I would just try to be as convincing as possible. Like that's what I tried. Like that's what I did, and it did help. What I would also do, and this is like an additional bonus, what you can do is you can download Loom.com and record yourself. Just talking to the camera, just like I am right now. Because literally, if you think about it, I'm in an empty room in an empty office, and I'm talking to a fucking computer. And you can do the same way. Like you can do the same thing. You can even start a YouTube channel, like whatever the fuck you want. And then you just talk to the camera. Now, if you are more established and you actually know how to speak properly, tonality shouldn't be a big problem. But for most people, it is because if cold calling is like if you got that dialed in and you already have dialers, you probably should not be watching this video and go to my channel and watch some other more advanced videos. And then a very big thing that I want to also talk about. Take a look. It's the impact framework. This is what I used when I did the cold calls, and I learned this from a mentorship program. I later on redeveloped it in a way where it makes more sense for all of the niches. So this is literally going to work in any niche. When you're like doing gyms, even if you're doing home improvement, construction, like I wouldn't cold call in the B2B or any niche like that. It's just better to go with the DMs and email, but it would probably even work in that, although I haven't tested it out. So I can just assume. But it is a 6-step script guide right here, so it's like a framework. Now, the first thing that we want to have and cover is introduction, right? So that's going to be the first thing, the I. That's what the I stands for in impact. So what you want to do, and this is like the most important thing. This is when you're going to get the most people to get to the next stage, which is going to be establishing the motive. But what you're going to do is sound very, very energetic and very like you want to be quick as well. Like you don't want to be wasting the prospect's time. Because I just received a cold call yesterday and they were like cold calling and they was like, hey Anne, so I was from Ring Central, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, come on, man. Like, do better. Like they didn't get the introduction nailed in, and that's what you need to focus on. So you need a strong, fast opener, under 10 seconds, unbeat, not robotic, and you also, I mean, you can say your name and a company, but I wouldn't do that, right? I wouldn't say your company name. You can say your first name, that's sure, but I wouldn't say your company name because it's gonna get them dismotivated. And then you want to breach to motive fast. And essentially, motive is just being transparent and tell them exactly why you're calling. This is the transparency that builds up the trust. So you can say, I already work with a similar agency, or whatever you're doing. Like this is just a script that I would do for myself. I'm working with a similar agency to yours. And to be honest with you, this is a cold call. So are you in a position to get more clients? And can I pitch you something? Like this is what I would do. And the key tips is don't over explain it. Ask soft, yes or no. Keep energy high and pause after the question. So you saw what I did there before. Like this is what I have in subconscious mind. I just pause after the question because I'm doing so many sales calls. I'm doing so many meetings. I just pause after I ask something. So I can ask you, so can I ask you something? So this is a question, right? How many meetings are you booking every single month? And now you would explain yourself and I would just stay quiet. This is what you need to do. And then positioning. We have this two-stage pitch. So drop your USPs and pitch, create intrigue, make them want to know more. And the hook right here, so once they give you the permission to pitch them, once they give you the permission, like they say they actually want more of the thing that you're promising, you're going to say something like this. And this is also an example that I drafted out for myself. We've helped over 20 agencies close hundreds of high ticket deals without ads. We build outbound systems generating 5 to 6 deals a month, risk free on pure commission basis for the first 3 months. Okay, very simple, right? This is what you can do for your agency, for your coaching or consulting business, like whatever business you're doing the cold calling for. Is most of the times it's gonna be like an agency, right? Because I haven't seen many consultants or coaches do the cold calling, but there are some, and it is gonna work for them as well. But what we can take apart here is we are leading with social proof, mentioning the risk reversal. So you have like a performance basis, if you have some crazy guarantee in place, whatever you have in place, you want to mention that straight after you give yourself some proof, some credibility, so that they can see that you're the authority. And this stage should be under 30 seconds. Okay? And don't rush the meeting. And then A stands for asking questions. So the questions they need to be open-ended. Okay? So you shouldn't say, like, let me give you an example. You shouldn't say, okay, so how many dollars did you generate last month with Facebook ads? Like they can say, yeah, I generated 20K. I generated 10K. I generated 50K. But it's like it's not gonna be able to let them speak out. Like they're just gonna give you a direct number. Instead, what I would do is I would say, okay, so what were you doing last month to get more clients and how did that go? Because like you can answer this in so many ways. You can like this is subjective. You can say because it's like different for every person. So they might get like 2x ROAS, they might get 2x return on ad spend, and I would say, yeah, it went pretty well. We had this issue and we had that problem and we did fix that. And they would already start explaining so much about their situation that you would be able to leverage it later on when it comes to actually closing them on a meeting, on a sales call. So the key tip here is to never ask yes or no questions. So don't say, are you running Facebook ads? Instead, what I would do is I would ask, so what are you doing for your acquisition right now and how's that going? Very simple, right? It's a small change, but it can change the course of the whole conversation and it can change the fact that you're booking 10 meetings a day. It can literally change that. And let the silence do the work. This is so important, man. And if I could stress this enough, this is like one of the Machiavelli's quotes. I don't know exactly word for word, but he said, the most powerful person in the room is usually silent. That's the thing. So you also want to take mental notes. So once you get a ton of volume in, like I did when I did, what was it, like 200, 300 calls a day, like you're gonna be able to take mental notes. Because what I did at first, I would say I would have like a keypad and I would write down the things that they were saying on a call. But what I was able to develop, man, is I would sit on a chair like this and I would just think about what they were saying and processing it in the back of my head. And once it came to utilizing that information, it's gonna be very easy because you're gonna learn through time. Time is the great teacher. And you want to stay curious, not salesy. Okay, so you're not gonna be like a lot of these cold callers. I'm receiving some cold calls here to there, and they're saying, oh, so we're calling from fucking acquisition plu plu, and we're gonna get you X amount of leads in X amount of days. You only have to do this, and the guarantee is this. You have to sign the contract here, blah 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 blah. Like this is not what you wanna fucking do. You wanna stay curious, not salesy. So you wanna seem like you're their actual friend. Plus, you wanna also have that authority frame on top of you. and then confirm and close. So we're gonna summarize everything that you guys said on the call and then just close them to the meeting. And another thing that I'm gonna give you, this is a tip, it's out of the script, but you wanna get a chain of micro yeses, right? So I actually learned that from my mentor, okay? Not Charlie, another guy. But if you ask somebody, okay, so would you be okay with a quick call? They would say yes. And then they will say, okay, so does 3 p.m. in the next week work, or the following week after that? And they would say, yeah, I can do someday at 3 p.m. And then you would say, okay, cool. So would you be comfortable sharing your email? And they would say, yeah, yeah, sure. You already get three yeses here, and they're almost certainly going to give you more information there on. So you can ask them like extreme qualifying questions. You can ask them like how much they're making a month, why they want to even book this call with you, and you can ask them all of the questions you would normally in your conversion form, in your qualification form. And this is how you're going to close them. So this is it. And you usually want to position it like as a 15 or 30-minute call, just a discovery call. But the actual call can be 40 minutes realistically, because once they commit 30 minutes, it's not gonna matter if it actually lasts 40 minutes or more. So the next steps. This is the next thing. So you give two options. Don't leave it open-ended and secure the slot now. Okay, so this is what I've already talked about in closing. You want to ask the questions that you need to fill out the form, and you want to secure the slot now. There is no think about it. There is no I'll get back to you. There's none of that stuff. You just want to get it done on the call straight away. Have them open their calendar. If they're not gonna do that, like they're eventually not even gonna convert into a good client, so I wouldn't even bother with them. I would just go into the next one. Always give two options. This is another tip. Act like it's happening, okay? Very important. You need to actually act like if it's already done, and send a calendar invite, right? So you can do this the two ways. You can ask them the question straight on the call, or you can send them the calendar invite. But if you send them the calendar invite, you want to get it actually done with them, right? So you don't want to let them off the call and just send them the calendar invite. You want to actually get it on the call. That's why I recommend just asking those questions on the call, or building a system where you can ask them the essential questions, book the meeting in, and then add them on WhatsApp and give them that form to complete. And then, of course, for the sales call, you're going to prepare from their answers, right? Just like you would in any system. But this is how my cold calling infrastructure looked like when I used to do that for myself. And I also did some cold calling for other businesses. So that's literally it. It's not rocket science, it's just systems. And I hope this video was valuable. I'll see you in the next one.